Hope y'all are doing fantastic. We're going to have a bracket video out tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow we will be posting it. I'm sorry for the delay. It's kind of tough right now with life and stuff, but we got this video out for you. Look, no one thought that FDU would beat Purdue. I doubt anybody in their right mind would pick that. Same with like last year, Oakland beating Kentucky. Like nobody, maybe a couple people, but really nobody was picking that. But it seems like every single year now, maybe not every single year, but a decent amount of years in the last decade or so, there's been a 14 over. There's been at least one upset that's happened. I think we can conclusively say that. And while these are not, I would not advise you to pick these in your bracket. These are just some wacky upsets I thought there's like a 0.0001% chance that these happen. Like there is an alternate universe out there where this happens. I'm picking 1 12 seed, 13 seed, 14 seed, 15 seed, and 16 seed. They're going to get progressively pretty crazy as we go. Please don't take this video too seriously, but if you want to use some of these picks in your bracket, I mean, and if these come true, like, hey, pretty cool, right? This is probably the most tame one out there. You got UC San Diego, maybe the most popular upset pick that I'm going with as well. I actually do think this will happen. This is probably the only one that I'm actually pretty confident will happen. If I would have to, hedge my bets, I would go with the UC San Diego pick. Right? This is a 12 seed. They're playing Michigan, who just won the Big Ten tournament. There is certainly a world where this happens. Okay, so 12 seed, pretty good there. I could see that happening. Next up, maybe one you didn't see coming. This is one that I'm not picking, but I definitely could see it happening. Grand Canyon, the Antelopes are playing as the 13 seed versus Maryland. I think they're playing in either Seattle or in Denver. That's pretty good for that Grand Canyon crowd that loves to travel. Huge fan base, huge growing university out there in Arizona. Although they won a tournament game last year and they're a little worse this year, they still beat a tough Utah Valley team in the championship and have experienced guys like Ty Grant Foster and Jacoby Coles. And Maryland, although their starting five, as everyone says, is really good, Grand Canyon might pull off this upset. So a little bit of a step up. Now we got the 14 seed, another step up. So we're climbing the stair steps. Boom, Lipscomb. If there's any 14 seed out there that you think could pull off the upset, I would argue it's this one. Iowa State is the number 3 seed. And although they are very tough to play against, they're reeling a little bit. Keyshawn Gilbert's out. He was a baller. I personally think that Iowa State peaked early in the season, and don't really enjoy teams that peak early in the season. They've lost a couple of games. Like they lost a game at their home stadium, lost 2 games at their home stadium. They shouldn't have lost to BYU and to Kansas State. And they rarely have ever lost at Hilton. It just seems like, they lost their leader. Taman Lipsey's had question marks. It just seems as if it's not the same Iowa State that we saw last year. And even though they have some guys that can fill up the points, and obviously they play good defense, so does Lipscomb. They have Ognisevich, and they have a few other guys who decided to run it back with Coach Lenny Acuff. In my opinion, a pretty solid division that they played in the A-Sun. They won that tournament, and Lipscomb's a team that I think could, if they hit shots and Iowa State isn't hitting shots, and if they can handle the defensive intensity of Iowa State, I think they can pull off the upset against the Cyclones. Once again, would not recommend it just because it's a very low chance of it happening, but still say like a 2 or 3% chance. Here's when we get kind of crazy here, folks. We're going BRYANT University. look, if there's any 2 seed that can go down, I'm very confident in all the 2 seeds this year, especially because it's a 2 versus 15 seed. Like, who wouldn't be confident? There have been many more 2 seeds that have beaten 15 seeds than 15 seeds that have beaten 2 seeds. I just think Bryant is the team to do it. Michigan State, I think, is the weakest 2 seed. That's just my opinion. I respect Tom Izzo and all that he's done with that program, but is just not, in my eyes, a team that you would say is a 2 seed. I mean, they've earned the 2 seed, no doubt about it. But if you just look at their roster on paper, they just don't have a ton of, guys that put up stats. They play a lot of low scoring games. They have a lot of, defensive, tough intensity. But I'll go over Michigan State in my next video. But let's talk about Bryant. Bryant is a team that is the 6th biggest team in college basketball. That's crazy, right? A team from the America East is the 6th biggest team in college basketball. Who would have thought? Their point guard is Earl Timberlake, a guy who used to be on like first round mock drafts in NBA 2K. He's playing his 5th year of college basketball. Pinzone is playing his 4th or 5th year of college basketball. They have a lot of veteran guys that are very long, tall, and athletic. And I think they could pose problems for any high seed. And I think they got the perfect draw here with Michigan State. Even though Michigan State is very good defensively and Izzo is a very good coach, I just see this team as kind of weak, to be honest. Next up, lastly, I know, don't clown on me for this. I'm not saying this is going to happen, right? But if there's a world where a 16 seed pulls off the FDU, they pull off the UMBC, I think it's American University. I have confidence in all of the 1 seeds to destroy the 16 seeds, including Duke. I think Duke is incredible. But I'm hedging on the fact that Duke is not going to play Cooper Flag. They're going to think they can just roll past, which is probably true. But I could see Duke kind of underestimating this game because they're sitting Cooper Flag. Basically, in the ACC tournament, they basically said, hey, Cooper's resting is way more important than beating these teams. And they almost blew a lead against UNC, and then they beat Louisville, who I'm not really sold on. Still great wins, still won the ACC, but, it's not the greatest wins, and they faltered a little bit. Obviously, they still should be more than enough to destroy American University. But American University has like 4 guys that are 4 or 5 year guys in the program. Matt Rogers is like a 4-year starter. He's like a 6'10" big who can shoot threes. They have some guards in the fold that have played in the Patriot League for many, many years. And the Patriot teams like Colgate, they've produced some pretty solid teams. Smart University won't really turn the ball over as much. Look, I'm just trying to rationalize it now, but let me know any weird and wacky upsets that you can think of, even in the 2nd or 3rd round. Let me know about it down below.